It's getting colder this time of year, and as it gets colder, your heat pumps work harder and harder to pull the heat out of the air to pump into your house. And when it has a hard time, it starts switching to auxiliary mode. And that's where your bills start rising a lot faster than you think. Heat strips are an auxiliary heat source in your heat pumps to make up for when the air is too cold for the heat pump to function and heat your house load. It makes up the difference. When auxiliary heat comes on, it's basically like pressing the button down on your toaster oven, and all the heating coils turn on at the same time. And while that's an efficient way to boost your temperature immediately, it is not energy efficient or as energy efficient as your heat pump itself. And oftentimes that will kick in if you want the heat to go up more than 2 degrees at a time. So if you're looking for your temperature to go up, you need to do it in 2-degree increments. Otherwise, it'll assume that you need heat right this second and will kick on all the auxiliary coils, and your heating bill will skyrocket as a result. Ideally, if you can keep your thermostat at 68 degrees, that's the ideal temperature to keep it at. But sometimes we know that you have to keep it a little bit higher. I urge that instead of doing that, keep sweaters around, keep blankets and things like that on hand, so that when you're looking to settle down, and that's usually when your body temperature lowers, that you keep yourself in some blankets and you'll keep warm without having to spend a lot of money. We recommend programmable thermostats because they help bring your temperature up in a controlled fashion that would not kick on the auxiliary heat. And that way you can set the temperature you like and forget about it without having to worry about the auxiliary heating strips causing your bills to go up. Well, oftentimes people will augment their heating with space heaters for the local area that they're in, and they'll kind of carry it throughout their house. One of the big concerns with that is that some of the more out-of-date units don't have all the safety protocol. One of the big ones is if it tips over, the new ones will turn off automatically. That way it doesn't catch fire to your home. And, you don't want to put any flammable surfaces near the heating elements. The newer ones always have cages around them. Some of the older heating guys did not. So if you are going to use a heater, you should keep them out of high traffic areas, because oftentimes kids and pets will most likely accidentally run into them, and that could be a hazard. Both them burning themselves as well as a fire hazard. It's not a good idea to have a bunch of heaters in place of your heat pump, because effectively those heaters will cost about as much energy as it would to run the auxiliary heaters in your heat pump. So running multiple space heaters is just not nearly as safe as just using your heat pump. Please remember, when running multiple space heaters, keep them plugged into separate outlets so as not to overload the circuitry. You never want to leave your space heaters unattended if you are using them, because something may happen, and if you're not there to catch it, it could become a problem. If you have older units, you want to consider replacing them with newer units that have all the that are more efficient and have all the safety standards. Also, make sure that if you're buying a new one, that it is UL rated. The biggest places you lose heat in your home are through places where you have air exchanges. So that's leaky windows, leaky doors, anything that's running continuously because of a leak or because of a faulty thermostat or anything like that. You want to get those kinds of things repaired and or plugged up. If you have a window that it doesn't seat right, you want to get those fixed, because that's where your money's going, right out the window.